the needs analysis section. The needs analysis section will be about 900 words long. The first 100 words of that is a profile of the group, and you use it to tell us things that are going to be relevant to decisions you make about course design. This will vary a little bit from group to group, but it could be things like location or the institution, how many hours a week you work with them. The other thing you need to get across in this section is how this course, the one you're designing, fits into their overall learning pathway. If you actually have been given a group that need a very short course, then this isn't a problem for you. But most people are trying to write this assignment while teaching groups that are actually on a rather longer learning pathway. So make it clear how that works. For example, this is the last 20 hours of a 100-hour exam course, or this is the first week in the new semester with this university prep group, and I teach them 25 hours a week. Show how the course, the part of the course that you're going to write, fits into the whole overall. That leaves you about 800 words. Of that, up to half, but not more than half, will be about their general needs. A lot of people start to find out about general needs with a questionnaire. You don't have to, it's very common. Even with just one learner, giving them a questionnaire could give you some idea of then what you could go on, look at the questionnaire and go on and do an interview with them, exploring things that look more interesting, look as though you should focus on them, find out more about them. With a group of 30 high school students, you're not going to be able to do individual interviews, but a questionnaire might give you enough information altogether, or you might look at the questionnaire and then decide to do some kind of classroom in-class discussion task about areas that have come up that you'd like to explore further, find out a bit more about. When you get this information back, put a sample of one of anything you gave to the students in the second document, and then collate the responses you got in an appendix in the first document. You look at the information, and that will help you. Now it will give you more idea about what they need to achieve, by when, and what they enjoy, what they like. That will help me make decisions about how to assess their language, and that's what you need to do in the second 400 words. In the first 400 words, you've said why you chose to do these things the way you did, what you did, and then what you understood from it. So collate your information in appendix, put it in charts, have numbers, highlight things that are important, maybe write a paragraph saying, looking at all these responses, I can see that we need to focus on X and Y, but probably not on Z. And then when you finished writing that, decide what's going to help you make further decisions, take it up into the main body of the assignment. That's also, when you're doing that first part about their general needs, that's when you're most likely to include reference to reading about needs analysis. And you need 5 or 6 references in each section, remember. This time you need to be looking at the needs analysis and course design reading. There are several people who have written books about course design altogether, and you can use them quite often. You can use quotes from them in the second and third and fourth section, because they have a couple of chapters on needs analysis and a couple on course design and so on. So you've woven some reading into your rationale. You've said why you chose to do what you did, and then you said this is what I've learnt, and that helps me make these decisions about assessing their language. Now you design the assessment tools. They don't all have to be tests. You could use homework, you could use in-class tasks of different kinds. What you need to show is that you can make decisions about what to use as assessment tools to find out about their language. Then you do get them to do the tasks and the tests, gather that information, again a sample of anything that's completed into appendices, collate information, in the appendix in the first document. Draw conclusions. So what can you see that is a strength? What can you see that needs working on? And then take key information up into the main body of the assignment. Finally, so you've got some strengths and weaknesses up in the body of the assignment. You've got lots of ideas about their wants, needs, and preferences. And then finally, you have a short thing where you put together the course priorities. What will I focus on? Well, they like this and they want this. It may not seem as important to me from their assessment, but that will keep them happy. But I'm also going to include this, and this, because I can see clearly from the tests and tasks that these were areas they need to work on before the next exam. So you end up with course priorities. If you are a main course teacher teaching large classes, lots of different skills and systems, you will test quite widely. But there's meant to be a balance in all of this. So if you actually only have one student, or if you actually only teach one skill, then that means you're able to achieve more depth in what you do look at. So bear that in mind when you're designing things. If you were a main course teacher with a large class and lots of different tasks, you probably only have one writing task. Whereas if you'd said that you're a writing teacher and you're going to, that's what you're focusing on, you would need probably 2 or 3 different kinds of writing, ways of investigating more deeply what they were able to do with regard to writing sub-skills and the lexis and grammar and so on that they needed to make their writing better. The other thing to remember is graphs. Don't put graphs into the main body of the assignment because you have to put them in picture objects, and the person who marks your assignment is required to hand count any words in any picture objects in your assignment. So it will add to your word count. It's rare that a graph shows something you can't say as quickly. In appendices, you can use graphs if you want to, but you don't have to, and charts are often a lot quicker and a lot more effective. For example, if you number down the side of the page, the questions, put the questions in, and then put your responses across the top, and put the number of students in boxes, and then where something actually, an interesting number has come up, a significantly large or significantly small number has come up, highlight it so that the reader can see that really quickly, so they don't end up doing the analysis over again. Because what they'll do is read through your conclusion, the conclusions you've come to in the main assignment, and then they will check some of those in the appendices. Don't leave them trying to wade through your data in the same way that you had to go through it. Highlight where you can see things that are important. Show where you've taken key conclusions from. And that will help. It will make the marker's life much easier and they'll be happier, and you want a happy marker. This section, people find the word count, meeting the word count, really hard. And they also find the actual logistics of getting the tests done, getting the information back, time consuming. So it is a bit of a struggle. It's often people get a little bit stuck here, but don't panic. If you get this section right, it's the key to all of the rest. You've got the information you need to build there for the course design and the assessment sections.